And I'm back with more Apollo Justice, and I hope this is the last episode of the Mason system. No guarantees, but next set of stuff should be a little shorter. So, here we go. But there are 4 locations to go in. Eh? Well, what do we have here? Remember me? Of course I remember you. Journalist meets ex-attorney in bar. End quote. Can I ask what you're doing here? Mr. Misham was poisoned and his daughters. Oh, yes, I know. Oh, how I know, yes. It's caused me no end of grief, to be honest. Journalist wishes he tracked down case a little quicker. End quote. Were you on the trail of the case this whole time? Zach Gramarye was a good friend. Zach said something to that effect in the Borscht Bowl Club. What a character, what a man. If a little, no, a lot, extremely rough around the edges. Do you think I could ask you a few questions? Oh, are you serious? I mean, I'm usually the interviewer, not the interviewee. Journalists ask questions, not the other way around, end quote. Fine, shoot, I don't care. People have been asking me all sorts of things lately. It was tragic what happened to Drew Misham and his daughter. Forgery is a serious crime, and they paid the price. You know what really did him in, though, don't you? Yeah, a forged diary page. The night I interviewed him, I found out something about Mr. Misham I hadn't known. What's that? You know, he always felt like he was being watched. Every day for 7 years. Walls have ears, potatoes have eyes, end quote. Being watched? You mean he felt guilty? No, I'm not talking about feelings here. You know, I felt watched too. The whole time I've been on this case, no less. Journalist gets tingling sensation on the back of end, freaks out, end quote. Because you felt guilty? Why would I feel guilty? Felt like being watched, huh? Wonder what that all means. Drew Misham felt like he was being watched? And you along with him. Sure it wasn't just nerves? Nerves? No, it's nothing so mundane. I stopped paying attention to my nerves a long time ago. But I felt it too. Journalist says he's being watched, end quote. Don't you wonder why Zach Gramarye got rubbed out after 7 years? Right after coming into contact with me? He completely vanishes from that courtroom. Then for 7 years he talks to no one. Not a soul. And then the remaining time was almost up. He contacts me in order to have this made. And then he dies. Starting to put the pieces together, are we? And you were being watched the whole time? Oh, maybe not just me. Maybe you were too. Me? I met Zach through that case, actually. You mean the shooting of Magnifique Gramarye? No, before that. It's not widely known. You mean the accident? During the quick draw shoot-'em practice? My, you're well informed! You should have seen me back then. I dug up quite a scoop. I wanted it all. Money, fame, women, a little puppy, all for me. I was younger then, and my days and nights smelled of fresher mint than they do now. Well, Gramarye did mention one particularly nosy reporter. In fact, I was so close on speaking terms with Magnifique Gramarye at the time. I knew his daughter too, of course. Thalassa, was it? Really? Then she disappeared quite suddenly at that. And Magnifique wouldn't say a word about it. Yes, my evil habit got the better of me. Journalist catches scent of a scoop. Goes on feeding frenzy, end quote. I set up one-on-one interview with her husband, see? Zach. Something strange in that air of the true Gramarye in those days. The whole screwy mentor controls disciples scene started then, I guess. Thalassa, she was a part of it all, right? Come on, you can tell me, off the record. Sorry, I don't know. Anyway, I kept prying and eventually became friends with Zack. Sure, he punched me once or twice, or 5 times, but over time he came to see me as his confidant. He's been waiting this whole time. 7 years, huh? Waiting? For his big comeback, of course! A big revival of the Magnifi miracle! Of course, it was all just a dream. Because of this. The performance rights. In the absence of any official documents, he was golden! Who's to say the old man didn't give his rights to Zack and Valent? So Valent waited until he died. Legally, at least. The time finally comes and Valent's like a kid on Christmas morning. He's getting ready for his big show at the Sunshine Coliseum, you know. If the document sees the legal light of day, it's going to put a bit of a damper on the big show. He's a scary one, that Valent. Lost out to his partner at work, and in love, too. Love? It's the same old story, really. 2 disciples and their mentor's only daughter? What has 3 sides and all of them pointy? A love triangle. Well, that is pretty classic. When you're in a performing troupe, that's your world. It's like family. One with an entire high school's worth of drama, intrigue, and backstabbing. And in the middle of it all, Thalassa has Trucy. And then she dies. I need to find out more about it. Mr. Brushel, do you know this person? Do I know her? Oh, of course I do. I was friends with Zack after all. He hit me a few times. 5, actually. But still, I never forget his wife. Thalassa Gramarye. Magnifi's only daughter. Do you think you could tell me more about her? Well, why the heck not? So Thalassa married Zack and had Trucy, see? It was her second marriage, actually. You mean she was divorced? I hadn't heard that one. Not quite. Her late husband was a performer, too. Apparently, he died during some gig. Tragic, really. They'd only been married 1 year. I didn't know. No, but she was a beauty. I still carry a portrait photo of her around, you know. I've known Trucy since she was a little thing, too. She got the better deal, really. She's got you for her family, after all. Wait, what do you mean? Oh, just reminiscing, you know. Thalassa has another child besides Trucy, end quote. What? She said she was an only child. Yes. That's one she had with a previous husband. The previous husband? Her first husband who died during a performance? Yep, they had themselves a kid. Another orphan now. There's another one who slipped through the cracks. No idea where they are now. She had another child. Do you think I could borrow this photo? Sure! I can be generous on occasion, you know. I won't need this locket anymore. Better return it to Trucy before I forget. People and events all get tangled together and it gets bigger and bigger. Don't you think? I was too busy wondering about bigger to listen to anything you're saying. Sometimes you just gotta accept that you won't be able to untangle it all, I think. Maybe so, but still, I have to do what I can. And I have to tell those what I find to those who come next. Next, you say? I'm not the one who will close this curtain on this little play. Apparently that's not my role anymore. Magnifi. I was just wondering what Magnifi would think of all this. What do you mean? Haven't you seen it in Trucy? She's got his power. You mean how I can't lie to her? No, it was the same with Magnifi, and with his daughter, Thalassa. It's a strange thing. Think it's some sort of Gramarye gene? Magnifi told me once back when Zack married Thalassa. He said Zack had good eyes, but not good like a Gramarye's eyes. Not that good. I wonder if Zack ever played a game of poker with his wife. Who knows what the Gramarye's secret was? Maybe nobody, now that Zack's gone. Zack Gramarye. The plot had finally revealed itself. It sprouted from a warp in the Gramarye fabric, and nearly swallowed everything, wrapping itself around the Gramarye power. A power which passed from Magnifi to Thalassa to the next generation. And I would once again need to meet the one who bridged it all together. So that's how to get to it. I have to know more about this power of Trucy's. It's like she can see right into people's minds. First time I saw her do it, it blew mine. And after you were done having your mind blown, you took her to play cards with you. Gotta use the resources at hand, I say. Yet I myself have no such power. But Trucy does. Why is that? Maybe Trucy's got her power from her mother? Thalassa Gramarye? I will not speak of that! Thalassa is officially missing, correct? And I think I know why you don't want to talk about her. The three of you were a team once. Not that the entire country doesn't already know this. At your peak, you were the biggest stars around. Yet there's another story behind that fame. One that not many know. Thalassa lost her life during a rehearsal. To you and Valen Gramarye's bullets. It was an accident. It wasn't me. How could I shoot my dear Thalassa? I'm sure Valent would say the same thing. Why, it's just like another murder, I might mention. Damn you! Her eyes. I loved her eyes. To think they could read my mind was frightening. Yet there was a warmth in them that felt like an embrace. She is dead, and Magnifi Gramarye has joined her. So the only one with her power left now is Trucy? Mr. Zack? I do not know. I don't need any power to see through this one, buddy. So there's someone else. Someone other than Trucy. Someone who inherited her power. How would I know? My chances are slim. It would take a miracle to learn the truth. Or maybe one has already occurred. There is someone else with that power, and I know who. This boy? His name? I forget. Something weird. Who could he be? An attorney. Attorney? I noticed him when I went to visit a friend's law offices. So, what are we to make of this, oh great ex-attorney? You can show me pictures of the strange boys all you like. But you could at least say something like, I'm this boy. I could use a laugh. Perhaps you wouldn't laugh if you knew the facts. This might not be 100% proof, but it's close. There's a link between the boy and Thalassa. Actually, it's more of a ring. A ring. Perhaps this will refresh your memory. I just so happen to have evidence showing this missing link.
Take that!
Actually, I know something. Your marriage to Thalassa was her second. How did you know this? Her first husband. He died a year after they were wed, yes? He was a performer. They met when he joined us Grimoires as a guest on our show. After Thalassa wed him, she left the troupe for a while. And you say she had a child? I have a photograph of her here. I couldn't help but notice he was wearing something when I first saw this. Those bracelets stand out. They're a Grimoire family heirloom. This boy wears a bracelet just like the one in the picture. What? So, that's why. Why what? I took this photograph of Thalassa before she left us. When she returned, she wore only one. I bet I know where the other one went. She gave it to this boy, her son. This strange power, I myself do not know where it comes. Yet the fact is that it's passed down the Grimoire line. It runs in their veins. What is it? I asked her once. This is what she told me. Her power responds to tension in others. Tension? If she were to face a person, and they became tense even slightly, then she would know, no matter how hard they tried to hide it from her. So she could see it? Not quite. It's the strangest part of it all. She wouldn't realize that she was subconsciously detecting this tension, without the use of a particular object, or, in her case, objects. Wait, there's something she wore? Yes, her bracelets. I admit the first time I saw one of those, I felt it was more than just fashion. But what kind of power could a bracelet have? I have made a decision. I'll tell you all I know. Consider it a gift. Well, I hardly need you to tell me at this point that those two are brother and sister, yes? And the brother too has this power. So Trucy has an older brother. I wonder what will come of that. Mr. Wright. Tonight, after our game is done, I'll return to a life of hiding. I would not see her live out her life without knowing. I understand. I'll tell the two of them when the time is right. I am in your debt, once again. No kidding. What I want to know is how all this got to be so messed up. Those bracelets are made of a special alloy. It is said to expand and shrink very slightly in response to body warmth. So the temperature's sensitive or something? Yes. This is how they can shrink to the exact size of the wearer's wrist. This has something to do with the power? What have I told you? The Grimoire power reacts to tension in others. When a Grimoire senses tension, they too become tense. And this tension translates into the minute contractions of the muscles. So minute they cannot sense it on their own. The muscles? So that's what the bracelets are for. With a bracelet on, one can sense these contractions. Because the bracelet is always a perfect fit. So when the person they're seeing or watching gets tense, the bracelet feels tighter on their wrist. Precisely. But that alone doesn't really count as mind reading. I believe I understand how the process works from there. It's a simple question of eyesight. Eyesight? Guess that sounds simple enough. Have you ever heard of kinetic vision? Something about the ability to see moving objects with full clarity, right? I've heard of it before. They say athletes can see a moving ball as if it's stopped, if they focus. No, but it's not confined to sports alone. It all relies on the ability to focus. When we focus, we can see many things. The faintest twitch of the face, and the meaning that lies behind it. Therein lies one of the secrets of magic. One must know the mind of a crowd before one can distract it. So basically, what you're saying is, the Gremmaries can see really well? For them, seeing is more than believing. It is knowing. Their power relies on eyesight combined with exceptional focus. Things are starting to come into focus for me, too. Of course, it is difficult to maintain such levels for any length of time. But what if someone could tell you when to focus? Or something. Precisely. Wait, Trucy doesn't have any. You were talking about poker, yes? The timing of when to focus is so elementary, she probably does it without thinking. I doubt Trucy herself has realized this. But that's all I know of things, Gremmarie. Thank you, Mr. Zack. If this boy's bracelet is the real thing, then he'll use it before long, thereby awakening his power. I'll keep that in mind. Well, should we play a game? I've said too much. Let me tell you one more thing. I must tell you of that night. The night my mentor Magnifi Gremmarie passed from the world to the next. There were 2 pistols, and 2 letters sent. This was Magnifi's test. A test? In his last years, Magnifi worked us to the bone. To pain. But that night, I could not shoot him. So I shot the clown's forehead instead. This, it seems, was the correct answer. Take this. I give my art to you, Zack. What? It is thanks for playing along with my show. You shot well tonight. Though I would not have minded dying by your hand. How could I shoot you? You're my mentor. Ah, I thought you might say that. If I went home without shooting anything, what would you have done? Then, of course, I would have given Valent his chance. If I had shot you in the forehead instead, then it would be over. If you or Valent were to shoot me in the head, then I to the darkness would go and my heart with me. A fitting end, don't you think? Yet this ending too gives me no cause for regret. I thank you, Zack. And I am sorry. I have done much that was wrong in my day. Seems to me that Magnifi wanted you to be a successor all along. That's why the time he gave you was earlier than Valent's. Perhaps, but it is not something we will ever know for sure now. I wonder, what is he up to these days? Waiting for you to die. If 7 years pass like this, the performance right goes to him. And now here I am, and his dream has ended. It's worse than that, actually. Public opinion's a fickle thing, you know. What? You don't mean to tell me they put the blame on the mentor's death on him? The trial ended when you vanished. There were even rumors that Valent had helped you pull it off. But that's madness! Well, seems that before I can once again disappear, I have one more act to perform. Isn't it odd that sorting out my life should prove so complicated, even though I'm dead? That night, Zack Gremmarie was killed. He died as Shady Smith, a mysterious traveler with a secret past. But he left one thing behind before he parted. This. his confession, to use as I saw fit. Of course, he killed no one. This was his way of tying up loose ends with his old partner, Valiant. Well, this is a blast from the distant past. Long time no see, Mr. Valiant. 7 years has it been? Frankly, I did not think I'd ever see you again. Actually, I came because there's something I wanted to ask you. I've spoken to the press. I've nothing more to say. I've spoken to a lot of people myself and come to some conclusions. But then I realized I needed to hear it from you. I've walked a difficult road these past 7 years, because you couldn't perform his repertoire. Do not be deceived. Valiant's skill is the real deal. I do not require my mentor's hand-me-downs. No, it was my partner who slowed me on my way. Zack Gramarye. His rather well-performed disappearing act 7 years ago was the end. Or so I thought. Zack Gramarye murdered your mentor and fled to escape punishment for his crime. You said something to that effect 7 years ago, didn't you? I remember it as if it were only yesterday. Yet that was not the way of it in the end. For while he vanished, the suspicion upon my own person never did. His partner Zack vanished to protect him. That's what those thieving magpies of the press said. I had no idea. And yet the very same press come to me now, feigning interest. They cover the greatest magic show in history as if it was a vaudevillian distraction. And here I must stand, smiling at them all. What am I if not a player in some fiendish farce? Might I suggest it's because you never made it clear what happened. Magnify's death is still a mystery to the day, which is why I come here to get the answer from you. I knew I'd be seeing these. The audience has no business stepping upon the stage. They must be content to stare at the spotlight. Sounds an awful lot like something I heard 7 years ago. Ask what you will get nothing from me. I'm as much a part of this affair as you are now. I have to know what happened. For 7 long years I have endured. Now finally the curtain can lift on my new golden age. All the miracles of our troupe within my grasp. Sorry to do this, but right now I need answers. I think I'll start by dropping a bomb. That'll shake things up. I wouldn't be so sure about those miracles. Not as long as I have this.
Take that!
And what might that be? I see it bears the Gramarye seal. I should have brought this to your attention sooner. And I didn't imagine that you'd be planning your comeback so fast. Wait, what is this? A document showing the true recipient of the performance rights of the miracles. What? Zack Gramarye, he wrote this? What? He passed everything to his daughter! Trucy Enigmar, actually. She's actually officially my daughter these days. Preposterous! Zack is gone! Vanished to the void! This is the genuine article. Zack was alive when he wrote this. Both myself and the notary can attest to this. Uh-oh. Why does fate toy with me so? Why must my life be lived in the thrall of the dead? You're not the only one with that problem. But he shot Magnifi! It was Zack! It was! And then he left, and my career as a magician fell into darkness! Do you think there might have been some way out of it? Say, if you could prove that Zack Gremory shot Magnifi? Was that why you testified? Yes! My way out! It should have been my way out! Well, it might not be too late. All you need is a way to prove your case. Who really killed Magnifi Gremory? I believe I have an answer to your prayers right now. Zack Gremory wrote one more thing before passing on. This is a confession! In which he admits to the killing of Magnifi Gremory. See? All according to your plan. I am a magician by trade. Deception is my life's work. I fool the audience, give them a fleeting dream. Yes, seems the tables have turned. Now I am the audience, believing in the deceptions I have wrought upon myself. Zack wrote those rights in front of me. After I explained your situation. Oh my god! You do know that this confession is nothing but lies? Yeah, it's my opinion that Zack Gremory killed no one. Then you must be thinking the truth is a simple matter of elimination. Two received instructions to kill, but if one is innocent, then the one who remains is guilty. That would be the logical conclusion, yes. So he vanished to protect me, his partner. A stirring tale, 'tis true. Did you shoot Magnifi Gremory in the forehead? If I had, and I told you, what would you do? Run to the police, perchance? Do as you will. There is nothing left for me now. It is true, after all. I have a little talent. I needed my mentor Magnifi's repertoire. It was as if a little demon grabbed hold of me. I knew it. So Valent Gremory did kill him. So sorry, Mr. Wright. But it was not I who shot my mentor. What? But if it wasn't you, then who was it? There wasn't another disciple, was there? Another disciple? Such as? I don't know. Knack and talent, Gremory, maybe? Your wild fancies couldn't be farther from the truth. Only Zack and Valent received those threatening letters. But there was another. One more person could have fired that pistol that night. I don't suppose you could have figured it out by now. It wasn't in Zack and Valent. And it had to be only one more person on the scene. Wait, you don't mean... Yes, the great Magnifi Gremory himself. So he committed suicide? You find it hard to believe. To be honest, I hadn't even thought it a possibility. When I arrived that night, the old man was still alive. He appeared to be asleep. I could not shoot him. But when I turned and made to leave the room, the old man called out to me. So you spoke with him? Yes. And this is why I knew what he had done. Magnifi transferred the rights of his repertoire to my partner, not me. I see. Then I guess I owe you an apology. I always thought you were the one who did it. You owe me no apology. My crime was, in a way, more serious than that murder. Your crime? Is he confessing something to me? What could be more serious than murder? You see, I knew the 2 letters had been sent. There are no secrets between partners. It was easy to find out. That's when I understood Magnifi's plan. He wanted to die. Wait, he wanted to die by one of your hands? Little did I expect it had anything to do with the rights to his repertoire. That was when I heard it. The little demon whispering in my heart. The demon? Let me confess. I had intended to shoot him. And I planned on framing my partner for the crime. What? That night, I prepared something before going into his room. Which was IV fluid, of course. I had seen it on an earlier visit. If Zack did not shoot, I would do the deed. And then I would use the IV fluid to place the murder on his hands. That was my plan. But you didn't shoot him. I could not. The demon in my heart fled when the moment came. When he called me back. I am sorry, Mallet. I'm giving my magic to Zack, not you. You still lack the draw he has. Please, help him if you can. I left the room. And then I stopped. The shock of what I had just seen, had just been told, consumed me. That is when I heard the fateful gunshot. Killing himself. Then the demon awoke anew within me. Zack killed him. He was the one. Frame him, and the magic will be yours. I altered the scene of his suicide. I took the pistol from his hand, wiped off the prints, and I used the syringe to add the IV fluid I brought. So in the end, things happened pretty much as planned. Magnifi died, and you framed Zack for the murder. As planned indeed. Of course, the outcome was something different than I had anticipated. Well, what do you think? Do you believe my story? Can it be believed, truly? It was 7 years ago. I don't know what to believe, but yes, I'm glad I heard it from you. Thank you. It is I who should be thanking you. Only when I had lost everything could I make my decision. You're going to turn yourself in? My partner may have vanished, but not so my guilt. And as my guilt stays, all begins to leave me. My friends, my performance rights, my magic. I've had enough of vanishing acts. I understand. I thought my life was ruled by a dead man. But I find I was wrong. For Zack Gremory was alive. Well, not anymore. And now it occurs to me. What if he was not the only one who survived, who was deceived? Me. Now that I think about it, I realize that No, we never saw proof of her demise. We never saw her body. Her? Mind races and the mouth flaps on. My apologies. Forget this matter. I can only hope the day will come when I again meet my partner, Zack. Then I shall apologize for my terrible mistake. I'm glad we had this chance to talk. Thank you. Zack Gremory, Shady Smith. Whichever name you prefer, he is no longer with us. The truth revealed in the trial was only a sliver, and the impenetrable darkness that remained had taken another life. I knew what I had to do to push back the darkness for good, and it would involve paying that man a visit. Sorry, sir. Prisoner Christoph Gavin is currently occupied. I see. Do you know when it'll be finished? Well... Could you go find out? Certainly, sir. Wait here a moment. My apologies to the guard. There's something I need to see. There it is. The yellow envelope. And the sender is Drew Misham. I was right. If this is the last letter that he wrote, then there's something I need to do. The last thing I need to do, in fact. Let me see if this atrocanine spray finds anything. So this was Drew Misham's messenger of death. It was this stamp, all right, no mistaking it. And his last letter was sent to Christoph Gavin. Gotcha. Decisive evidence. What's this? A burglar in jail. Gavin! I didn't know you moonlighted in larceny, right? There's something I have to ask you. Can I steal your stuff? The answer is no. My apologies, but there's not much I care to discuss. Vera Misham hasn't received your verdict yet. You follow me, Gavin? There are no known survivors of trocanine poisoning. But it never hurts to hope. Okay, I'll be leaving now then. Right. Wait. Yeah? Would you mind leaving that letter? It's private. Oh, sorry. I forgot I had it. Many thanks. Sleight of hand. That's interesting. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I see what that was. Okay. We've now seen all the clues of this case. Clues I gathered over 7 long years. Now it's time. Every story has an ending. We've come to the final chapter. The final trial. Find out the truth. You're the only ones who can. Whew. Oh boy. So, I'm betting I'm gonna need 2 more videos for this, but I might get it in one. Really depending on how fast I can move through things. But the final trial is coming. And the finish of Apollo Justice is near. So I'll see you next time.